Hi there. I hope you're having a good night. It's Tuesday. I'm in my backyard. It's so nice tonight. It's chilly actually in Idaho Falls. We're supposed to have a freeze warning, which is crazy. So cover up your plants if you're watching in Eastern Idaho. I wanted to come on, and Erica, by the way, says hi. She's out with Emmy right now doing something for Emmy's production that she has coming up. But we had a really cool experience in Los Angeles that I want to tell you about. A lot of times you hear about horrible things that celebrities do. This is a really nice thing, so I wanted to be sure to document it to let people know that there really are good people in high places, I guess you could say. But a little bit of background. Emmy, my daughter, our daughter, she's 10 now. For the past 3 years, she's been doing a weekly segment called 7 Questions with Emmy. It all began, we were on a river rafting trip in Island Park. I went live on my Facebook page and Emmy started to chat with me. And one of the commenters, whoever you are, bless you for this idea, said, Emmy, you should interview your dad. So we came home, she interviewed me, then we posted it, and a few days later she interviewed my wife, Erica, and we called it 7 Questions because she was 7 at the time. Then she interviewed her brothers, and then our good friend Ken Despot, who owns Garcia's in Idaho Falls, a restaurant, said, why doesn't Emmy come down and interview me? So she did. And I was working on a story with Keith Morrison at Dateline, and I texted Keith and just said, hey, could Emmy interview you for this thing? And he said, sure, let's do it today. So she did, and it was amazing. And the next day, NBC News with Lester Holt said, hey, would Emmy want to interview Lester, and we could do a story about her, and it just took off. So she's been on the Today Show. She's a contributor on the Drew Barrymore Show. She's done, I think, 200 interviews almost now. So she's just killing it. She's doing so good, and yeah, of course I'm so proud. But one of the questions I get asked all the time is, how do you get these interviews for Emmy? Because some big names have said yes, like Michael Bublé. That one was crazy how we got that. I had reached out to his team and didn't hear anything. And then one day I was at the dentist and I got a call from a booking company who said, hey, we are reaching out because Michael Bublé has a couple of slots left for interviews on such and such a date, and would you be interested? I'm like, of course we'd be interested. So anyway, that's how that one came about, and that was cool. But a lot of times what we'll do is, because I work in the news, I have contact information for some publicists and PR people, and I'll reach out to them and say, would so-and-so be interested in doing an interview? And some of the publicists write back like right away and are like, yes, we're all in. In fact, I'm talking with one right now, really nice guy in Nashville who has a bunch of his people that he works with, singers, they want to talk with Emmy. So that's cool. That's great. Now some write back and say, oh, now's not the time, so-and-so, they're not promoting anything. Some only want to do the interview if they're promoting something, which is understandable. If they want to promote their book or a movie, that's how we got Matthew McConaughey. He was promoting Sing 2. And that's cool because they sent us the movie a few days before and we could watch it. And then she knows what to ask him about the movie. So it's really cool. So, and then some just say no. For instance, Oprah sent her people sent the kindest email saying that Oprah wasn't available at that time for an interview. In fact, we asked twice and this person was so kind. The fact that they even sent a note back and said, we're busy, we can't do it right now, was just so nice. We're still hoping for Oprah. And Robin Roberts from Good Morning America, her assistant wrote back the next day, the kindest email saying, Robin's just so busy, but we wish Emmy the best. And so there's some really nice rejections, quote unquote. And then most of the people that say no, we just don't hear from. You just don't get a response. And Emmy's has her wish list of who she wants. And if you've watched her interviews, you know that at the top of the list, Zac Efron. So anyway, a couple months ago, I was thinking, who could Emmy interview? You know, there's a lot of people out there. And I saw Henry Winkler, the Fonz, as many of you know, also a book author who's written several books and has been in several movies, TV shows. He's done voiceovers on The Monsters. Just a legend, an icon. I'm like, I wonder if he would talk to Emmy. I don't think so. He's too big. Some of these people, they don't need publicity anymore. They're too big. But I found his publicist info. At least I thought it was his publicist. I found an email. Her name was Sherry. I sent off an email and said Emmy would love to talk with Henry on Zoom. We'll send the questions ahead of time so he can think about the answers. Whenever he can do it, we'll do it. Sent the email, didn't think much of it. Thought, well, we're not going to hear back. A couple days went by, nothing. Kind of had forgotten about it until suddenly Sherry wrote back and said Henry would love to chat with Emmy. Don't send the questions ahead of time. He wants it to be completely spontaneous. When can you do this? So I'm like, oh my gosh. I call Erica. I'm like, Henry Winkler, the Fonz, is going to talk to Emmy. And Emmy's like, who's Henry Winkler? So we pull up some old clips and everything. And so we start trying to work out dates. Well, schedules wouldn't match up. He was busy. We had something. I then went to Boise to cover the Daybell trial for 6 weeks. So I was gone, busy. I mean, just things weren't working out. So we get home. I get home from the trial, middle of May. Reach out again. None of the Zoom dates match up. Henry's so busy. So I finally, a week before we go to California, I write back to Sherry and I say, we're actually coming to Los Angeles for a quick summer trip. Any chance at all that Henry would be available on, I forget the dates. I offer 2 or 3 dates. If so, we'd love to do this in person. No big deal if he can't. So I sent the email and I thought there's no way that Henry's going to say yes to this. Like, most of these celebrities, they want 10 minutes, 5 minutes, quick Zoom, that's it. Well, understandable, they're busy. I totally get it. There's no way he's going to meet with us in person. So I send the email. The next day, Sherry writes back and says, what dates will you be here? Henry would love to do this in person. Where are you staying? And where are you thinking about doing the interview? And I'm like, oh my gosh, we might be able to go meet Henry Winkler in person and do this interview. So I write back and I say, we'll be in LA for, I think it was 3 days, and San Diego for 3 days. And here's what we're doing. And we already had some plans, but I'm like, we'll change the plans. And I said, we'll shoot the interview wherever he wants, because I had no idea. So she writes back and a couple days later and says, Henry would love to do the interview at John and Vinny's. It's his favorite restaurant. I just outed them, but don't worry, because I think it's going to come out. He loves John and Vinny's in Brentwood, which is in Hollywood, kind of, in LA. Let's meet on such and such a date at 10 a.m. See you then. I'm like, oh my gosh, we're going to meet Henry Winkler at this diner, this Joe and Vinny's restaurant. So we're so excited. I mean, this is going to be like the highlight of the trip. And we go to California. We spend a few days in San Diego, Legoland. We go down to LA. And the day before, Sherry messages and says, are we still good for tomorrow? I said, absolutely. She said, where are you staying? I said, we're staying in Pasadena. We'll leave early. And the GP, my map at that point on my phone said that our hotel was like 20 minutes from the restaurant. So she writes back, at that time of day, you're going to need an hour with traffic. So I'm like, she's right, because everywhere we went, there was traffic. I'm like, all right, we will leave the hotel at 9 then to get to the restaurant at 10. So the next morning comes, Emmy's getting her hair done. We're ready to go. We leave the hotel at like 8:55, and there's horrible traffic. Horrible. And I'm freaking out because I do not want to be late for Henry Winkler. And at the GPS said estimated arrival like 10:10, and then it'd go down to 9:55, and then 10:04. It was bouncing all over the place. Everett got sick in the car. Luckily, he didn't throw up. He got car sick because we were in so much stop and go traffic. So he had to move up to the front. He was buckled in. I know that might not be completely legal. So don't send me an email. I know. So we're like 10 minutes away or 15 minutes away. It's like 9:55 and Sherry calls. Hi, Nate. Are you close? I'm like, yes, we're just getting off the exit. We'll be about 5 minutes late. I'm so sorry. She said, no worries. Don't worry. We're here. We're waiting for you. We'll see you soon. Park in the back of the restaurant. So we get to the restaurant, and I hopped out with Emmy while Erica went to park the van. And we walk in, and there Henry Winkler is sitting in the middle of the restaurant with his publicist, Sherry, and they have a table, and he's like, hello, come on in. And he goes and gives Emmy this hug. And I'm like trying to get out my camera to film. I got a little bit of footage. And he's like, I brought you something. And he pulls out flowers he had pulled from his garden that he brought for Emmy. It's the nicest thing in the world. And he's like, all right, so Dad, you can sit here. We're getting breakfast. I'm buying breakfast for everybody. Breakfast on me today. We're like, what? And he goes, who else? I said, well, Mom's parking the car with 2 brothers. He's like, okay, Mom sits there. And you guys sit here, sit down. And he just starts talking with Emmy. And I'm like, wait a sec, I want to film this, because he's just so interested, and they're hitting it off just like a grandpa and a granddaughter, honestly. And Sherry's great, and in comes in comes Erica with Everett and Elliot, and he's like, sit down, what are your guys' names? He remembered their names the entire time. He's told me, he goes, I only have an hour. An hour for us? Like, that is the coolest thing ever. He's got an hour. So he's like, what do you want? They have the best pancakes. Order the pancakes. So Emmy got pancakes. She goes, not a lot of syrup. He's like, I'll take your extra syrup. And the kids ordered, and we're chatting, and I'm like pinning a microphone on him and her. And I said, are you ready to go? He's like, yeah, let's go. So they did the interview, which we're going to post Thursday. I hope you'll watch. It ended up, it's like 25 minutes, but it is so good because Henry is just the nut. You can tell kindness and realness just ooze off of him. Again, this guy is big. He had to leave at 11 to go talk about some upcoming film project that he's working on. So as Emmy's doing the interview and they're chatting, he's written books, by the way. He's written like 30 children's books. He's like, oh, and he turns to Erica. I need you to write down all the kids' names and your address. And I'm going to send you all something. And sure enough, yesterday in the mail, look what arrived. 3 books, 1 for each of the kids with personalized messages inside, and a bookmark and a picture of him and his puppies. He said he was sad he couldn't bring his dogs to see Emmy. It was just the most real hour, and it flew. And after an hour, he's like, I'm sorry, I have to go. He went and paid for our meals, didn't make a big deal about it at all. I said, thank you so much. He's like, no, thank you. And gave me some really nice compliments about Emmy, gave her a hug and a kiss on the forehead, gave the boys a hug and a kiss on the forehead like a grandpa, gave Erica a hug and a kiss the forehead, I meant the top of the head. Just was so nice. Took photos with us. Just was so nice. I can't even tell you that if you think everyone in Hollywood is a creep or not real, this proved complete otherwise. So it was just a really incredible experience, and I just want to thank Henry Winkler for taking time for us, this little family from Idaho. By the way, he loves to come to Idaho and go fishing in Swan Valley, which is close to us. And he showed us some pictures of his fish that he caught. We'll show you that on the interview. We'll show you the flowers he gave Emmy. He was just the nicest guy. And Sherry, his publicist, who was great. She's worked with some pretty big clients and done some pretty big things, and she was so polite too. So Henry, thank you. Thank you all for watching 7 Questions with Emmy. We have some fun interviews coming up in the next few weeks. Not just celebrities, we try to vary it, but there will be some celebrities and some other people that I think you'll like, and some other travel that we're going to do this summer that will hopefully bring an exotic flavor maybe to 7 Questions, or at least shake things up a little bit. But yeah, thank you all for watching. Wanted to tell you all about Henry Winkler. Great guy. Hope you'll watch the interview. It'll be up on Thursday morning on eastidahonews.com. Also on the Meet and the Eatons YouTube channel, my Facebook, Emmy's Facebook. You can watch it all. And a big thanks to Idaho Falls Pediatrics, who sponsors Emmy and 7 Questions with Emmy. They make it possible so that we can do all this. All right. Thank you for watching. Have a good night. It's getting chilly. Freeze night tonight. Freeze warning. Cover your plants if you're in Idaho Falls. Hopefully everything's not dead tomorrow. Hope they kill all the weeds. If they could just freeze those. Yes, you're looking at our yard. Erica's done a great job with the yard, and so has our neighbor, Gary. Gary is amazing. Gary made it so I only had to shovel my driveway one time this winter. I try to get up and shovel the driveway or snowblow the driveway. Even if I get up at 5 in the morning, he's beat me to it. Gary is a saint. And did I tell you, Gary's like 86. He's 86. And his lawn is the best lawn in the neighborhood. And when we were in California, he came over every day to take care of my lawn, our lawn. And that's why it's so luscious and green, because if it was me taking care of it, it'd be brown and dirty and yellow. We have hired people to mow the lawn in the past, but I really like doing it. So anyway, Gary is the man. That was a tangent. So is Henry Winkler. It's that generation. They're good people. All right. Have a good night. Bye-bye.